thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show to talk about digital assets is the head private trust FBN Quest trustees, Mr. Rotimi Obende. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you on the show. So, we've seen FBN Quest come for several things. You discussed education trust. You've had various types of trust. Now we heard digital assets. We know what digital assets are. Well, how do you put that in trust? And that's the very question. So let's start for those who don't have digital assets. What are digital assets? And how do you put that in the trust?
Okay, so let's start from trying to remind ourselves what a trust is. A trust is an arrangement that you can decide to put in place, and you then ask FBN Quest trustees to manage that entire process for you. It involves advisory. It involves helping you to manage the assets that you want to put in the trust arrangement. Now, traditionally, the assets that we know are real estate or investments in stocks and shares or with banks, fixed deposits. But when you talk about digital assets, you're looking at assets that are not physical, assets that you find online. So you're looking at social media accounts, you're looking at blogs, you're looking at patents, you're looking at copyrights. These are assets that people make money from. The internet is a huge market, just to say that and put that in proper context, because a lot of money is made. I'm sure you've heard of people that somehow built multi-million or owned multi-million properties as a result of blogs that they own. So these are digital assets. We are then telling you, put that entire arrangement in a trust such that if anything then happens, we're looking at either a capacitation or the ultimate, which is dead. A trust company then manages that entire process. Royalties, for example, monies that come in. As they keep coming, who do you want to be the beneficiaries of the arrangement that you have put in place? That's the entire concept of digital trust.
Digital trust. So that has to do with even content. So for instance, I produce content and I can put my content in your trust and be paying something, right? Or how does that work exactly?
Okay, so you have content,
yes,
and people have subscribed to
the
that
content.
Yeah. So in putting that into a trust arrangement, you are essentially saying that, okay, from the content to subscription to ensuring that even when people come to view the content that you have put out there, that entire arrangement is what you are putting in a trust arrangement. So let's take this show, for example. Let's say in another 10 years, you probably might not be the one sitting here, but contents have been built over time. It's possible that you have an arrangement in place where royalties come to the founding founders of this, or mothers, permit me, of this particular show.
Founding sisters, please.
Founding sisters of this particular show. What then happens is that you can sit in the comfort of your home. People view this show, they pay maybe a subscription for it, or you get royalties from it. The monies that come in, the benefit comes to you. You can then decide thereafter that those benefits should go to my children or great-grandchildren, depending on
I've done that. I've come in the beginning when we had to start.
You can still do it again.
No, don't do 10 years. That
doesn't matter.
So, that was part of that average. But
a lot of, it's a wide market, this influencing business. A lot of people constantly, yesterday, myself and my husband, late nights, were watching one content like that, and we really thought, these guys are in huge markets. They do a lot of work, that's creativity. But you own maybe a social media page where you put your content and you grow your numbers. What exactly would you fear for someone who just maybe has one controversy and numbers just drives in? What would you fear? How do you think people steal content? What exactly should you be doing online?
Okay, so from the trust aspect, you're looking at ensuring that you have put an arrangement in place with the creator of the trust. Now, in terms of the security, and that's where it's important that you are not just on your own. You're speaking with people that can help you ensure that there's security in place. Even the content you then push out, it's important that you have conversation with maybe like a team, such that you are not putting out the wrong content, because like you said, that can throw or ensure that your followers just crash in a matter of seconds. So once you have a trust in place, the trustee constantly monitors. Just please note that it's monitoring and advisory services that we provide, such that you are then able to grow that brand. But what is of essence, how importantly to us, is ensuring that even when you are no longer there, you have employed one or two people, your page continues to function. Some of us have contracts with big companies, advertising contracts, and you are earning money on an annual basis. That money can keep flowing to your generation. So it's generational wealth transfer on its own, and it's also ensuring that people are employed, people are get paid, and your blog or your website or your social media page continues to flourish.
So what would you say?
How do you come in? If I have a social media page, for instance, I manage it, they pay me, I take my money directly, and then I can transfer to you. But if you want to come in, do you take over the payment side or, control of the page?
Everything can be put under the trust. So in terms of generating content, how do you get your content? What kind of agreements do you have in place? Now, when you are no longer there, because I'm in the picture, I can continue to manage that process. We generate content. How do we then distribute the content? I can continue to distribute the content for you. Now, it's not only when you are... So when I talk about when you are no longer there, there's the possibility of age, there's the possibility of complications, email, and all of that. So, it's important that we manage all of those processes and ensuring that we are then able to transfer not from just me, but to the next generation and the generation.
Who would you say requires digital asset? Because now we're hearing maybe influencers, but who else in this range do you think should need this digital estate plan?
So apart from influencers, you have people trading massively online. So there are people that have online wallets, cryptocurrency. So just imagine you are the only one that knows your password. And you have maybe, in terms of cryptocurrency, close to 500 million or 100 million. What then happens to that? You are the only one with the password. If you pass away today, your family members have no your access to how So for proper, maybe you have real estate, your family then knows what to do, or you have investments in shares and stock. But if it's cryptocurrency, or if you have a wallet that you have loaded dollars, even your bank accounts that have online passwords, what do you do to all of these? These are the conversations that we are speaking about.
So when is the right time to start considering all of this insurance? Is it till you have something substantial, or as you're just starting life, you can find ways to put something in trust?
So she spoke about us that we should have been here 10 years ago. Unfortunately, we were not here 10 years ago.
Your fault.
For her, 10 years would have been the most appropriate time. However, if you look at your structure today might just be the best time to put that in place. Look at your followers 10 years ago. I'm not sure they are as much as they are today. Now you have a proper brand, a proper segment, there's a proper structure. What then happens to the ownership? What happens to the income that will be earned in future? You can't put a structure in place now and don't wait for another 10 years before you then say, you came late. I'll say that when you're starting off, think about it clearly. And even when you have made progress 5, 10 years, what is important is take stock of where you are today and ask yourself, if I'm not there, will this blog, will this website, will this content continue to grow? Now, content also includes music. A lot of today our artists have content online that people are subscribed to. I'll give you an example, Bob Marley. I like this example a lot, and I tend to use it because today Bob Marley's brother is the one benefiting from all his royalties. His family members, when I say family members, wife and children, are not getting anything at all. And that's because he didn't have this structure in place. You want to be able to avoid that, such that first line of benefits or beneficiaries are your family members, your spouse, surviving spouse, and your children. That's important because, again, whether we like it or not, they are the ones that we are working for. They are the ones who wake up on a daily basis trying to take care of.
Interesting. So, for example, now, there are people out there saying, and I think they want to know exactly at what point they invite you in. So I think you try to ask that question. And I need that, just to go back to what Nima was saying. So now I have a page that is making money. If something happens to that person, and because the person is the content, the person can't create that content anymore. So is it that FBN will now continue with the content, or is the one that is already existing, they'll continue to manage for my generation, or they'll just create content just to keep the page going? Or what exactly?
Both. We can do both. We can start to manage the contents that have already been created. And that's why if you then bring us in now, we can start the content generation and even understand the content generation. Again, we need to be able to tell ourselves that it should not be a one-man show. Where issues come up is where you have a one-man show. So where you are the only content creator, when you pass away, nobody's creating content anymore. So who then manages what comes to you? Because whether you like it or not, money will keep coming to you. You have, whether it's a YouTube channel or an Instagram channel that people will view, and there's some kind of subscription that you would have put in place, that money will keep flowing, and you want your family members, dad or mom, if they are still alive, or children to take advantage of that structure.
Wrap up. Well, thank you so much. I think this is a good initiative. So in a nutshell, because I've been hearing from FBN almost very frequently, so I think in a nutshell, you're fronting against one-man business. You're trying to tell people that once you have something going, get us involved for longevity. Get us involved to help you sustain that, so that even anything happens, at least be it digital, be it education, be it anything, we are there to support you to ensure that those who you expect to benefit will benefit from your work and hard work. That's fantastic. Okay, that's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, we go to our hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.